Hey guys, I'm back and I look like a nerd now. But we're gonna rep the nerd outfit for a little bit. I got sick and tired of having no personality and being a black figure. So we're gonna go with this for now. Sorry it's been such a long time in between episodes. I've been unable to make videos for a while, but hopefully I'm back and we can, you know, make some more All the Mods 10 videos on a regular basis. Because it's been such a long time, I thought this would be a good opportunity to take a step back and kind of review everything we've done so far, so you guys can kind of get a little refresher. And so I think on this episode, I'm just going to go around my base and talk through all of the setups that I have, so we can see where we left off and what we got going forward. And what better place to start than our main, you know, this is where everything happens with our EMI system, because everything is connected to that. So let's kind of review that. So here we have just a simple controller. I'm not doing any P2Ps or anything crazy like that. And we have auto crafting set up with the quantum computer as well as the assembler matrix. So these guys work great. And over here on the side, we have just some basic auto crafting setup with the reaction chambers and the crystal assemblers. This one only handles patterns for the machines, and it's not doing any of the processors from A2. Those are all handled down here by Super Factory Manager. So I have circuit slicers and more crystal assemblers in the walls. These pattern providers dump all of the crafting recipes inside of the barrel, and Super Factory Manager, let's turn this off. Super Factory Manager takes care of the rest. So that is how we're producing circuits, processors, whatever they're called. We are also storing power through our AE2 system. So if we take a look at FE, we've got 17.6 nearly trillion FE stored. That is in our FE storage cell right here. So all of the power that we're producing goes directly into the cell, and then it is distributed from here. Let's make a trap for this guy. If you are annoyed by the Wandering Trader spawning and ruining your mood, you can make one of these trap things. Oh, come on. And let's put it down there. And it's not going to work this time. But next time he spawns, he will immediately be killed. Okay, where were we? Power. So our power is being generated down here. And right now I am using Nether Star generators. So we've got 20 Nether Star generators, and each one produces 261,000 FE per tick. So that is about 5 million generation from our Nether Star generators. And then we also have thermo generators set up on the side. By the way, Powah had a update and now everything looks different. And I actually quite like it. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's something different. But we have thermos set up over here as well. Thermos used to be buffed a lot, and they used to be the best. Well, not best, but they were a very good source of power generation. But actually magmators now make more power. If you take a look at the nitro magmator, you can see that it generates 20,000 FE per tick. And if we take a look at the thermo now, it only does 1.7 thousand FE per tick. With soul lava, if you look at the heat sources, that is 900% production. So that basically means we take 1.7 thousand generation and we multiply that by 9, which gives us 15.3 thousand. So these thermos generate, the nitro thermos with soul lava underneath generate 15.3 thousand FE per tick, whereas the magmator will do 20,000 FE per tick. So if you're starting out, magmators are a better way to go now that these aren't buffed as much. They've had some adjustments done. Okay, So going back to our AE setup. Oh, you guys, how silly of me. I forgot to show you how I'm handling wireless power. Everything from our power generation gets put inside of our FE cell directly into the interface that's down there by our power generation. And then I have a Flux accessor here that, oh, by the way, Flux Networks is in now. So we have Flux Networks set up. And this plug pulls power from our FE cell, so we can use this anywhere. And of course, the limit is turned off, so we can pull as much as we want. And then we have a player transmitter here also pulling power from the Flux accessor that's charging all of our things on our body. And then we have an ender cell down here for all of our ender gates. So this Flux accessor is basically just for outputting power from our cell to whatever we have connected to the wireless things. And I do have, I guess I don't have it set up. I don't have wireless charging enabled with this, but we could also use this instead of the player transmitter. Anyways, back to the video. We have the way we're storing things. I went ahead and changed it up a little bit. So the 256 million mega item storage cells I'm using to store everything that does not need to be compressed. So if we just need to store it in simple terms, I am storing it in here, and I have all of those things, what do you call it? Partitioned with equal distribution cards and overflow destruction. So what that means is each item, I believe it's about 17 million of each type of item that's in there. And then anything over the 17 million will just get voided. I don't think we'll be needing more than that. So I have 2 of the 256 million item storage cells storing everything that doesn't need to be compressed. And then everything like diamonds and whatever, all the other things that do need compression, I'm using the bulk item storage cells. So we still have a bunch of those, but basically using these guys, each one is basically 63 bulk item storage cells, and so that cut down how many we needed to have by a lot. So now we have all these empty drives. Okay, and then down here we just have some normal cells. They're all 64Ks for random things. And we have our infinity cells. So we have lava, water, cobble, sand, and dirt. And then here we have our, some miscellaneous stuff. So we have source. We have the chemical storage where we're storing fissile fuel. We have experience. And here, interesting. Is that experience? Oh, it's time fluid. I'm sorry. Time fluid, blood, soul lava. And then we have all the industrial foregoing things. This is from Advanced AE. I forgot what it's called, the quantum liquid thing, and then honey. So that is that. We have our quantum ring set up. That way we can wirelessly cross-dimensionally have access to our AE2 with a universal terminal. And over here we have some requesters. And the way requesters work is you set the amounts, and it'll auto-craft it based on the amounts you have set. So every time our system has less than 64 steaks, it's going to cook 256 of them. And this is useful because it keeps stock of inventory. And so you always have these items ready to go, and you don't have to, like chests and sticks and things like that. I don't want to constantly be making those when I run out. So this just makes sure we have enough of them. But it also offers another advantage, which is the bulk size of it. So for things like the prediction matrices for hostile neural networks, rather than putting a crafting card where every single time it uses one, it has to make one, and you have auto crafting happening all the time, this way it'll make a big batch, and then you have a few minutes where it doesn't have to make anything. So you're not constantly using auto crafting. That's that. And then we have our wireless connectors on the wall here that basically gives us wireless access to our EMI system for like our bees and other setups. And then we have the quantum crafters here that are just crafting some, basic things like obsidian, and making sure we have these smithing templates. The quantum crafters do a great job of doing recursive crafts and recursive crafts, and also things that require themselves, aka recursive. Okay, so moving on from this room, let's take a look in here real quick. I don't think you guys have seen this before, so let me go ahead and showcase it real quick. You can see we have tons of experience here. And the way I got so much experience is with this little setup down here. So we have a maximally upgraded spawner from Apotheosis spawning cows. And over here we have an advanced clicker that's killing the cows with a sword that has high levels of looting, loot pinata, and it also has knowledge of ages. What knowledge of ages does is it converts dropped items into experience, and cows drop a lot of things. So when they are killed, all of those items are converted into experience. So let me show you how fast this works. Right now we have 0 in there. And let's go down here. I'm going to turn that on. Cows are going to start spawning and they're killed. And you can see in 3 seconds, I have 200, 300, 400, 500 levels. So this is a very, very powerful experience farm. And it is necessary because of the Apotheosis things. In the new Apotheosis, there's the augmenting table where it allows you to re-roll specific affixes and then also upgrade them, basically taking chance out of the equation at the cost of a lot of experience. So you can go down your whatever tool it is and pick any of the affixes. So let's say +8 attack damage. I can pick that one, and then if I want to re-roll it because I don't like the attack damage, it shows all the other things that it has. So I can re-roll it until I get any of these things that I want. And then once I have the exact affix that I want, I can go ahead and upgrade it to the maximum amount that it gives. So with that, we upgraded our armors, and now we have, pretty decent stuff. But again, it uses a ton of experience. So each time you want to re-roll something, like this one costs 175 levels, and it can cost up to 225, and it'll take all 225 of your levels. So you do need a ton of experience, and that's why I had to make the experience farm. All right, and then over here we have our Apotheosis Enchanting setup. That is the maximum. Can we enchant this? No. That has the maximum amount of things. So let's just grab a random sword. So you can see our Eterna Quanta and Arcana is all maxed out. And we also have the very rare and basically max enchanting setup. There is also an interface here that is keeping this stocked with 20 lapis. So I don't have to refill that. And this guy is keeping me at, and if I stand in this area, it's keeping me at 225 levels. So I don't have to pick up more levels or put more lapis in there, which is a nice quality of life thing to have. And then all of the enchantments I put inside of the Library of Alexandria, so we can really quickly search through and grab whatever we want, like so. Okay, so that takes care of this room. And while we're talking about Apotheosis, let me show you our Apotheosis Enderman farm. This is how I get gems. So I have a pretty concise build over here with Super Factory Manager. And this farms our Godforge pearls and also all the gems that we use. And the way this works is we have mob crushers from Industrial Foregoing, and a bunch of Endermen spawn. They are killed. The loot goes inside of here. It breaks down all of the armors into the Godforge pearls, and then everything else is trashed, so we don't have a overflow. So I'll pick up the torch and show you guys how this works. So you can see a ton of Endermen are spawning, immediately getting killed. And this gives a lot of gems very quickly. And you can see when I put in the ender pearls and the other garbage loot that I don't need, it gets deleted. So that way we don't overflow with a bunch of things. Okay, let's go back home. This is my bedroom. You guys have seen this before. My nanny wife. Okay, let's move on to where most of the magic happens for all of our resources. I am using productive bees for just about everything, because mystical agriculture wasn't all that great when I started playing the pack. Now it's pretty good and you can use that, but bees still offers more variety of resources. So the way this works is, let's grab a network tool. I use Super Factory Manager for everything. You guys should know this by now. If you take a look at all of these green outlines spiraling all the way down, those are our inventory cables, and then the purple things are the inventories that are connected to it. So you can see everything is hooked up by inventory cables inside of the walls, and it all comes back to here. And I updated the way this works, and I'm actually very pleased at how it works now because it runs very, very smoothly. This one manager is keeping these stocked with bottles. It is picking up the resources, putting them inside of the centrifuges, putting it from the centrifuges into the barrel. It's cooking all of the raw resources like this blaze gold. It's putting those into the interface. It's keeping all of these stocked with power. It is also crafting honey blocks with the honey bottles and recycling those into our system. It is also deleting gems and stuff that we're getting in here. I mean, this one manager block is doing all of that, and it's running at 2 milliseconds. So that's how powerful Super Factory Manager is, and that's why I love it. But the way I got it so efficient is by utilizing a buffer in here. And I pick up all the honeycombs, and they get buffered inside of this chest, or inside of this barrel. And after, how many ticks is it? 420 ticks, which comes out to 21 seconds. Every 21 seconds, I pick up the items from this buffer and I put a stack in each centrifuge. The reason why I picked 21 seconds is because that 20 seconds is about how long it takes for a heated centrifuge with 4 speedier upgrades to process a full stack of comb blocks. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if there already exists, if there's already combs inside of here and you try to insert into it, Super Factory Manager has to go through a series of checks. First, it has to check what comb is in here. Then it has to check if we have one of those combs. Then it has to check to see if it can insert it in there, or is it going to be more than 64? And it has to do that for 60 centrifuges and however many combs that you have, like it could be 15 of them. So that very quickly becomes expensive computationally, and that can cause your program to run slower. So doing it this way ensures that every time we want to insert into the centrifuges, that they will always be empty, and then you don't have to do any of those checks. So if we take a look at this, it's gonna not insert anything into here until this one's done. And then about a second later, we'll get the second batch. So doing it this way is much, much, much more efficient. And that's how that's done, which I thought was cool. Okay, and then this little thing in the wall here is our bee squishing setup. Basically, we put bee cages in here, and they are squished, and their genes are combined. Everything is done automatically. Thanks, Super Factory Manager. And down here, we have our bee breeding setup. Again, this is done by Super Factory Manager, and the way it works is I put the bees in here, and however many of them I want to make, that's how many cages I put in there. So let's say I want to make 20 of, or I want to breed 20 diamond bees. I would put my diamond bees in here and then put 20 cages in here and this would breed 20 diamond bees. Once the babies are bred, they get dispensed into the world, and I have vitalic source links from Ars Nouveau here that accelerate the baby growth. And then once they are adults, the bee catcher catches them because it has a adult bee upgrade in there where it only catches the adult bees. And then that goes into our barrel here where I can pick it up. So this is also fully automated. I just put down the cages in here and then walk away and come back later. And we have all of the grown adult bees. And it's nice to use the source links and grow them in the world. So that way you don't have to use honey treats in the incubator, the baby incubator. Okay, that is it for our bees. So what should we take a look at next? I think we covered everything up here. So let's go down into our factory and start looking at that. By the way, a moment for Super Factory Manager. Can you guys tell? I like Super Factory Manager. It's the best. We already took a look at our power generation here. Maybe in between episodes, I will switch the thermos to magmators, and we can stock lava in here. This is full of power because our FE cell is full, but we can stock lava in here and then just put it in there, and we don't have to worry about the soul lava or any of that stuff. Okay, let's take a look at this wing. This is our magic wing. And on this side, we have Forbidden Arcanus. This is a tier 5 Hephaestus Forge. And the way this works is, so you can, when you're getting blood into your forge, you can put the spawner up a little bit higher, and then when the mobs fall, they take fall damage and die. I don't like that because they leave blood stains all over and also items. So I do have a sword, a clicker here that kills them with a sword that has Knowledge of Ages, which gets rid of the items and I don't have to deal with it. So you just turn this on and they're all killed. You don't get items and this fills up with blood. So you can see that going up. It's pretty low, so maybe I'll let this go for a while and fill up. Actually, let's turn that off for now, so we can talk in peace. Then the Uriel I have on auto crafting, and I just make the bottles. So I can make like 10 of those bottles, and we have auto crafting for potions. We need more what? That was a weird thing. So you can see that's going up one by one. And it's done crafting. And then once that happens, I put the bottles in there and it fills up with Uriel. Fun fact, if you are building this and you don't care how it looks, these obelisks from Forbidden have to be on these polished darkstone blocks in order to generate Uriel passively. So you can see that that's going up slowly, very slowly. And what most people do is they will pick up all of the pedestals and then put the obelisks down. You can make like a swapper where you can click a button and it'll swap them. But actually the pedestals don't have to be on those blocks. So you can offset the pedestal to the side and have both of them there. So you never have to like change them. But the obelisks do have to be on this block. But the pedestals do not, so you can offset the pedestals. The reason why I'm not doing that is because I think it looks ugly. So, set it up however you please. And down here, we just have our Plebano forge, or smelter, or whatever you want to call it. All right, on the opposite side, we have our full automation for Ars Nouveau. These guys are doing all of the essences, and that is it's pretty easy. We have source gems being stocked inside of this interface, and oh, take a look at this, by the way. This is how we're producing source. So I have our bees making these archwood logs, blazing archwood logs, and then the volcanic source links pick those up and turn it into source, and that goes into our source cell. So we have 28 million source. And that is also hooked up to this, so this always stays full for our enchanting apparatus when we use it. Anyways, back to this. For your essences, these items on the pedestals are actually not consumed. So those are just there permanently. And then we're keeping these stocked with source gems. And then once they're done, they go into our EMI system. So you can see that we have these guys passively crafting. So we always have a good supply of them. And then the coolest part about this whole room is how I have the enchanting apparatus automated. So if we take a look at the source cell, these guys, I'm going to delete them. And if we want to make it, let's say we want, well, just one of them, right? It has to make the normal one first and then the second one. And both of those are done in the enchanting apparatus. So check this out. I'll press start and you can see that the items go in there. This is crafted. And then the next one is set. And you can see that it used up the source and this gets automatically filled back up from our source cell. The way I have this automated, of course, is Super Factory Manager. And that works with, as you saw, auto crafting in our system. So I can go ahead and put, let's see where it is. Whatever recipe that requires the enchanting apparatus goes over here. So I can just put those in here and then autocraft to our heart's desire. And you might be wondering how I'm inserting into the enchanting apparatus wirelessly with Super Factory Manager because there's no inventory cable touching this. The way I'm doing that is using entangled blocks. Entangled blocks are pretty cool because you can, this is already linked to that. So you take your entangled binder and you select a block by shift right clicking on it. And then you right click on the entangled block. And now interacting with this essentially means you're interacting with this block. So you can pipe in and out of it without physically interacting with this. So I have an entangled block buried underground where it's touching the inventory cables for Super Factory Manager. And I'm inserting and extracting into the enchanting apparatus by using the entangled block. So that is how I'm achieving that. I think that's everything for this room. So let's move on to this area. Over here, we just have our Powah Energizing Orb set up. And you might notice I don't have an import bus on our Energizing Orb. And the way I'm getting the things from the Energizing Orb back into the pattern provider is by doing something unthinkable and using modular routers. If you input from the bottom, if you extract from the bottom of the Energizing Orb, it only takes the finished crafted result. It won't take the crafting ingredients because it has a separate inventory slot. So the modular router pulls from the bottom of this block and then inserts it into the pattern provider, and that makes the whole thing look cleaner. And then on this side, again, instead of having a crafting card here for the prediction matrices, I'm keeping these stocked with the requester that I have. And the way this works is, again, all done through Super Factory Manager to keep everything looking nice and clean. These things are kept with prediction matrices, so every time I pick up, it keeps them stocked with 2. And once those are done, it'll put them in the loot fabricators. And once that's done, the items get put into the interface that goes inside of our EMI system. So that's pretty simple. Let's take a look at our industrial foregoing setup. We have our fluid extractors here. So we have a active formation plane on the bottom. The reason why I'm using the active formation plane is because it doesn't require subnets. So you can just put the formation plane connected to your EMI fluids cables and put in the item, and then it'll just set it down. So you don't have to worry about subnetting it. Then these fluid extractors are extracting the latex that goes into our fluid cell. And then some of it is produced into plastic. So there's the formation plane you guys saw. Over here we have some material stonework factories that are all producing glass. So this is just passive glass crafting. Over here we have a ship, I'm sorry, not a ship, a sheep in a creature catcher. And if I put that over here, I'll start producing fertilizer. And we need that for hydroponic beds. So if I try to make 100 of them, you can see that it takes 100 fertilizer. So that's for that. And here are our dissolution chambers that are all on auto crafting. When you have the pattern provider in the middle surrounded by the machines, the pattern provider will split the recipes between the machines. So all 4 of these can make the same recipes in here, which makes it much nicer. Then we have our wither milking over here, and this is our pink slime generation. It is currently turned off, but if we take this remote, it's turned off. So there's cursed earth, and I am tick accelerating the cursed earth with there's cog blocks underneath, which just basically pass redstone signals around. So instead of laying down redstone, I'm using the blocks. And there's a timer that's ticking it, so it's making that work much faster. But the light prevents mobs from spawning. So with this remote, I can turn off the light, and you can see all the monsters spawn. This guy kills it, and we are getting pink slime and liquid meat. But I think I'm trashing the liquid meat. Okay, let's go ahead and turn that off and go down a layer. And this is where I have all of my mystical agriculture things. So we have our infusion altar, as well as the awakening altar, fully automated with pattern providers. So let's say water seed. I want to make one of those. I click it and I can make it. So again, automated with Super Factory Manager. It's really cool. If you want to make a bee, for example, I don't think I can make this one. Yeah. So the recipe changed, and now the prosperity bee you need to make, or actually it didn't change. Did it? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's the same. So you have to make the prosperity bee and then squish it for genes. But anyways, I don't have that right now. I don't want to go through it, but I'll show you how the other bees work. Let's say I want to make a supremium bee. Oh, that requires prosperity also. What about anyways, so you saw how this works. If you want to do it manually, I can just throw things in there. So let's take a prosperity thing, and then let's do like iron. Let's delete this one so we know. We'll need 4 iron, and what does the iron require? I think it's the tertium. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we just put those in the barrel, and we have manual crafting as well for that. And then it gets picked up and goes into our system. Okay, here's the iron seed. So with this code that I have set up, which is in the description of the video that I made setting this up, it does the bees, it does the seeds, it does manual crafting, it does crafting with our pattern provider, and everything looks nice and clean. Same thing with this one. Let's take like an awakened supremium block, for example, and we click that, and this is automated just as neatly. Okay. And then over here, we have our hydroponic beds for some of the essential seeds, like dye seeds, nature, all of the like water, fire essences, all that stuff is set up over here with hydroponic beds. And again, I am keeping power, water, and ether gas stocked inside of our interface, and Super Factory Manager handles it all, feeding it water, ether gas, power, and then it picks up the materials and puts it inside of, I think, our system. So I think they just go directly into our one of our the 256 million item storage cells. Okay, so that is that. And last but not least, we have our mechanism corner. So over here is all of the basic mechanism machines automated. And we're using, so these guys, the enriching factories, pretty self-explanatory. Again, I like to set them up around the pattern provider because that gives us 4 times the processing power. Same thing with the infusing factories. The way this works, because the infusing factory, you have an input item as well as the extra slot, which is the infusion material. You need to insert 2 things, and you can't insert 2 things from the same side because your side configurations have to be different. So that is why we have to use the advanced pattern provider, which allows you to specify which side to insert each ingredient. So for example, if you take a look at this one, the copper ingots are inserted from whatever side. So that's on default, but you can see the enriched redstone is happening on the east side, which is the back side of these machines. So they can all be inserted on the same one and use the same pattern. And then, so let's make like 1,000 of these alloys, right? And when we do that, you can see it split them all up in between all of these infusing factories for maximum efficiency. And once these are all done, you'll notice that there will be no more redstone left inside of this machine. And that ensures that each one of these machines can craft any of these recipes, and I don't have to have a dedicated redstone, a dedicated diamond, a dedicated obsidian infusing factory. They're all 4 of these can handle all recipes, which is the way I like to do it. And then up here we have a compressing factory. It's an osmium compressor factory, I guess. And then some crushers with crushing recipes. So those guys are all automated. And in here we have our kind of advanced mechanism room. This wall will get pushed out to make more room for our, what's it called? The turbine, as well as the fission reactor and the SPS. And so we'll have to make all of those things, and I'll just push this wall out and kind of put them all in line. So we do have our fission reactor set up over here, and that is ready to work. I just need to make the radioactive cell, which requires antimatter. So I'm going to have to do something else before we can store it, because that requires the SPS. But anyways, I'll figure that out at a later time. So this guy's set up, and over here we have a really concise setup for our fissile fuel, and that is because of Super Factory Manager, of course. So again, we have another interface. Basically, this is the recipe for clean setups. Have an interface that you can stock any item you need for the automation, and you can insert any item from your automation into your interface that'll go to your EMI system. So one interface plus Super Factory Manager will literally take care of all of your needs. So over here, we have the manager and the interface is being stocked with all the items needed for this entire process. And then Super Factory Manager just handles the rest of it. So we have a kind of long and intimidating looking code over here, but it's actually really simple because all it is just inputs and outputs. So you just input from here, output from there, input. So it's actually pretty simple. Just go along logically in what you need to do and just, write the code, and it's pretty easy. And so all of these machines can be set right next to each other, and it's very compact. And if you want to expand, all I do is expand vertically, and you can copy the settings from this machine to this one, and also label them the same, and everything will will pick up and work. So you can expand it very easily as well. And this is making fissile fuel. The fissile fuel is going into our chemical cell. So we've got about 830,000 buckets of those, which will be handy when we start using this to generate the waste. Okay, I believe that about does it. Sorry we didn't do any kind of progression on this episode, but I just wanted to do a recap. And I don't know, I guess I missed talking and I wanted to talk the entire time. And then, yeah, now that you guys are all caught up, we'll come back next episode and kind of continue forward. I do also have a new series I'm doing on All the Mods 10, and you'll see the first episode of that rolling out soon after this one. And that one is going to be a challenge, All the Mods 10 series, where I do not rely on productive bees or mystical agriculture for resource generation. So we'll have to come up with clever ways of handling resource generation. So that is exciting, and that'll run alongside this series, and hopefully I'll be able to keep up with all of the videos. And I believe in the next episode, I'm going to do a full run through of the progression through occultism, and finally set up occultism once and for all in our base. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am glad to be back. Hopefully you guys didn't forget about me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.